DETV Sports Update is powered by DART, Delaware's transit service. Moving forward.
And welcome live inside DETV Sports. So once again, as soon as you think you get us back in the studio, you're going to have to wait another week. We are once again remote, Matthew and myself, at different locations. I'm hanging out here in Newcastle at one studio, and Matt is at his own studio there, I believe, in Wilmington. Dennis is back, of course, on Market Street at the DETV studios. A lot of different studios being thrown around here on a Tuesday night. We are finally up and running here. It's almost 8 o'clock, so a little DETV Sports late night. So thanks for sticking us with us here on a Tuesday. We're going to recap Monday Night Football. Of course, talk about the Eagles, the Giants, the Chiefs, the Packers, the Cowboys, those big games from week number 4. And then, of course, we'll talk a little bit about week number 5. We'll preview Thursday Night Football, get to our question of the day, our trivia question as well, courtesy of Dennis back home. And then we will again get our closing thoughts on the night. Matthew, how you doing? Internet's looking strong now. I mean, I was struggling a little bit before we got on, but it seems like now we're cooking with grease. How are we feeling?
Yeah, man. Finally, everything's going well. So can't complain
Well, let's
now.
stick with it. Let's see if we
Yeah.
can keep that rolling here today. And again, we are back on a Tuesday, and you'll most likely hear from us again next Tuesday. We're going to try to be with you every single Tuesday, so put that on your calendars going forward. So, Matthew, here before we dive into all of our big NFL and pro stuff, we do have a controversial issue here in the local high school football scene here in our first state, Middletown and Smyrna, two of the premier programs in the state of Delaware. Middletown, your defending champions from last year. Smyrna, multiple state championships here in the last decade and many more beyond. And they play every year in what a rivalry game is referred to as the Harvest Bowl, a big match between those two teams, one of the best in-state matchups for high school football throughout the season in Delaware, Middletown and Smyrna. And they went back at it over the weekend on Friday, had the chance to be on the call for that one. It was a fun game back and forth, but it ended like I had never seen a football game end before. Middletown was attempting to kick a field goal down by 1. The field goal was then blocked. The ball went beyond the line of scrimmage. A player on Smyrna tried to pick it up, couldn't do so, muffed it, if you will. Then it was picked up by a Middletown player as the clock was at 0, returned for a touchdown, and Middletown won the game. So they walked it off, if you will, in football fashion, 33-28 on that interesting play during the field goal attempt. It's been the talk all over the weekend as we get in here to Tuesday. People are still talking about it. The DIAA and the Officials Association had come out over the weekend and said that they made a mistake. The play should have been blown dead. The ball was beyond the line of scrimmage. The defender, once he touched it, it is a dead ball, game over. It could not have been advanced by Middletown, who in fact did so and ended up winning the game. So they came out and they said that. Smyrna put out a statement earlier today saying that they let them know that they made the wrong call, but you cannot overturn a game decision there on protest. I guess they did file a protest, but they could not change the final score or the outcome, even though they acknowledged that they had made a mistake. So both teams put out statements today. Middletown said, hey, win confirmed. We're moving on to next week. So they're excited. And then Smyrna had that statement saying, hey, we're disappointed, but the officials said that we were right, even though they can't change the outcome. It's going to stick as a loss. So I know Dennis has some footage of the final play. Maybe that'll come up for us here shortly. But Matthew, I just want to ask you here, on our local high school scene, again, not about the play itself or the controversy. We kind of now realize what happened there, but the officials coming out, a day or two after and saying that they made a mistake, but there's nothing they can do for the outcome, wins and losses, they have to stick. How do you feel about that part out of it? Do you think that maybe those outcomes should be able to be changed if they acknowledge that they made a mistake, as you see the play here on your screen?
I mean, my feelings about the officials, I mean, look, they already have a hard job. I mean, we're already having a shortage of high school refereeing just
Absolutely
because
right.
of all the stress from parents and just the abuse that they get. So what I would like to see in the future is, and I've always been a big proponent of this, is there to be somebody on the sidelines that's part of the refereeing, not necessarily making calls during the game, but when these crucial calls come in, when there's a deliberate, like a fudging of a rule, that person would come out and be like, hey, this is the rule. And then you change it right then and there. And you, even if you're wrong, it's get corrected right on the spot. The hard time about finding out later that, oh yeah, the call should have never happened that way, and we're sorry. That doesn't do anything for the team that lost. That just made it's just it's like, man, we got robbed, and really all you get is I apologize, my bad, and it doesn't really help anybody. I'm always been in favor of somebody just being on the sidelines. That when those critical, really difficult decisions have to be made, that there's a senior, I guess you can say, rules committee person on the sidelines. It's like, hey, per our book, this you can't make this call. And if you have that, then it kind of takes, I think, some of the, I guess, weight of the decision off the referee. And then you also have, I think, some of the, I guess you can say sideline antics would go away, because I'm sure when this call was made, and I don't have any footage to see,
Yeah.
because, who we don't have crowd footage, but I'm sure there were a lot of people screaming about the rules. And I feel sorry for those referees, because I know how parents are. They're going to remember these referees' names. They're going to remember who worked the game, and that person is going to have to literally be perfect. I'm sure. I mean, they already get a ton of crap, and I know a few local referees, so
Yeah.
I've heard all the horror stories. So I really feel bad for them in that situation. I mean, I don't think they did it with any malice. I don't think they were trying to get the call wrong. Just unfortunately, they don't have the ability like the NFL does to go phone into New York and get a change of something, or have a senior official say, hey, you guys didn't make the right call here. You guys need to reverse that call on the field. We don't have that. And I just think if we had somebody on the sidelines that doesn't have anything to do with the regular play, he's just there for these major issues that come up, I think we could curve some of this stuff.
Yeah, I'm with you. I don't think we're ever going to fully escape it. But again, referees have the toughest job in the world, especially at the high school level. Obviously they get paid a little bit, but that's a lot of their time that they're donating, to help out there. And as Matthew mentioned, there's a shortage of high school officials here, especially in the state of Delaware. We've seen those issues here with different football games over the last couple of years. So again, puts them in a tough spot. I know when it happened on the air, I'd never seen it before, and it was hard to really come to an agreement on what had happened or what should have happened that same night. It took a couple of days of deciphering from everyone around the state, before we came to that conclusion. Then, of course, the officials coming out and saying that as well. I will tell you, though, it's going to make that juicy matchup if they get into the playoffs that much better, if these two teams meet, because that would have been Serena's first win in the Harvest Bowl in a long time. So now that one was kind of taken away from them, they're going to be ready, because these teams meet in the playoffs almost each and every year. So that's going to be a fun thing to pay attention to as we go forward. Smyrna, though, back in action this weekend at the University of Delaware for a special game against Louisiana. That's two teams in the top 5 going at. So that's going to be a fun one. We'll see how they rebound after that controversy over the weekend. So that'll take us now here into Monday Night Football, Matthew, a doubleheader, 7 o'clock and 8 o'clock. I'm more a fan of the 7 o'clock and the 10 o'clock staggering start times, but they get two games a little bit earlier, trying to get everybody in bed, I guess, a little bit earlier. There was ESPN. So we lead off with the Jets and the Dolphins, a matchup of two teams that were looking for their first win. Not the prettiest matchup on paper. Dolphins did look a little bit better last week in that game against Buffalo, where they took them down the wire on Thursday night. So a little bit of extra rest for the Dolphins coming into this one. Divisional matchup here in Miami. So the Dolphins, they get the win over the Jets, kind of controlled that game throughout. They look like the better team there, but Tyreek Hill, I'm sure you've seen it now, Matthew, or if you had not watched the game last night, had that pass to the sideline, was tackled, twisting of the leg as he was brought out of bounds by the defender. Comes out. He had successful surgery today, but he is out, obviously, for the year and most likely beyond. A lot of ligaments are damaged in that knee. He also dislocated his kneecap. Was not a great scene. Tyreek Hill, one of the best receivers over the last 10 years of the NFL. So going to be tough there. And let me ask you this now before we get into the conclusion and some other fallouts from this game, because both teams are 0-3, not too much going forward.
Sure.
But what do you think about Tyreek Hill now? Is his career, and he was blowing kisses, kind of waving as he was being carted out. Is this it for Tyreek Hill after an injury like this? He was already contemplating retirement before the season. Now, again, that salary not guaranteed for last year if he's not on the roster. So the Dolphins can cut him and not have any type of financial tug there. What do you think about Tyreek Hill? Is he done playing in the NFL?
I think he comes back, but the version of Tyreek Hill that we saw before this, it's never coming back. I mean, the Cheetah, if we're being really honest, the Cheetah hasn't been the Cheetah since the first year in Miami. I mean, he's been good, but he just hasn't been the Cheetah that we've been used to seeing. So I think he was already in the midst of a decline. This certainly is going to, I'll say this, accelerate the decline. But no, I think he'll come back. I think he'll try to come back. I mean, I think just based on just how he's wired as an individual, I think he's going to try to make the push to come back. And I think, honestly, knowing some of what we know from his off the field issues, he's going to need a little bit of money. So I think he'll try to come back. And I'm not trying to cast any aspersions on his personal business, but I think he's going to try to come back. I think at least one more chance with a team that maybe might believe that he has some more tread left on the tires. I will say this: if you're a fantasy owner, now is the time to see if you can pick up Jalen Waddle for cheap. I think his value will go up a little bit more. And of course, to me, I think overall, I think the Miami Dolphins are in a tailspin here. Losing him is major. I think there's already rumblings about the problems with the coaching. And then I got to be honest with you, I'm just not a believer in Tua. I think at this point you got to figure out, do you keep him or do you just let him go? I'm of the belief they just got to blow it up. I really do. I don't think there's anything there with Tua. Respectfully, I think he's a quality player when he's healthy, but he's never been the Tua that we thought we were getting when the draft started. And when he had that major injury at Alabama, we started to see like some of that star luster fall off of him. And now, for just being honest, he's a solid complimentary QB, but I don't think he's in a state where he'll be, Pro Bowl and perennial all-time great QB. And he's good. He's just not great.
Yeah.
So if I'm the Miami Dolphins, I'm trying to make some phone calls.
Yeah, let's again, just a few things you mentioned too. Oh, he's coming fresh off that 5-year max contract that he signed before last year. I know we both said that we probably wouldn't do that, but again, they did. And after he led the league in completion percentage, had a great year that year prior, so they gave him that 5-year max deal. And you mentioned Alabama, that hip injury, back then, and he's had some of that injuries obviously since he got in the NFL. He's been a little bit of a different player since those injuries. Not saying he was the greatest thing before that. I was never the biggest Tua fan either. But again, coming off that 5-year max contract, it'll be hard to move him if that's what they want to do. We'll see. But I think he's going to be there for the long term, and we just got to figure out, if you're the Dolphins, your offensive line and the defense. Defense looked a little bit better last night, but again, you're going up against Justin Fields and the Jets, so it is what it is. So you got to figure out a few things there. I think they're playing better as of late the last 2 weeks, giving the Bills a run for the money on the road in Buffalo last week, and then showing up here at home on Monday Night Football prime time on a short week, or excuse me, a little bit extra rest and looking a little bit better. So I think Mike McDonald has them playing a little bit better these last few weeks after all the stuff that they've been going through. And then you mentioned Jalen Waddle. I'm with you. If you can get Jalen Waddle, again, might cost you a little bit more now since the injury. He's going to be stepping into that number one spot. But again, as long as Tua is healthy, Waddle could be a high-end wide receiver too, depending, going forward. If you can't get Waddle, I like Malik Washington a lot as well, maybe as a lower-end guy to have on your bench in case he makes an impact. They like to use him as a gadget guy. They give him the ball. They throw him a lot of screens. He got a lot of work once Tyreek left the game last night. And again, Jalen Waddle, one game, I think, without Tyreek Hill last year, 8 catches, $142, and a touchdown. So he is going to be stepping up into that wide receiver one role. And again, in that Mike McDaniel offense, it's going to be successful, even though the Dolphins are not the best team. They are going to be able to move the football most of the time. So again, Jalen Waddle, go get him if you can. Maybe Malik Washington tonight on waivers if you need somebody deep on your bench. So there you have it for the Dolphins. The next Monday night game, Matthew, Broncos and the Bengals. Bengals destroyed last week against Minnesota on the road. I believe they lost by over 35 points in that one. So coming back, they were 3-point underdogs in Minnesota, and now they come back, head to Denver, and they were 7.5-point underdogs to take on the Broncos at Mile High. Again, Jake Browning, we look at with the numbers and the record coming into this year after Burrow got injured. There was some confidence in Jake Browning, had a 4-4, 500 record as a starter, did have decent stats, but the last 2 weeks, they have not looked good at all offensively. I mean, the defense, obviously, we know what that is, but they have not been able to move the ball. Jamar Chase, once again, non-existent here. T. Higgins had a few big catches. Chase Brown, abysmal. Offensive line, terrible. Then you know what you get on the other side with that Cincinnati defense. Broncos beat them 28-3, made it look rather easy. They controlled most of the game. 326 yards and 2 touchdowns for Bo Nix. So Broncos get back on track. They look a little bit better, or kind of what we maybe thought they would be here recently after coming off with a slow start there off in the AFC West. But is this it for Cincinnati? We thought maybe they'd be able to hold their own a little bit. Defense was a little bit better than what we thought, but I guess when it comes down to it, when you're missing Joe Burrow and Jake Browning's playing this way, there's not going to be a lot of success out there.
Yeah, I mean, this is one of the issues I had with Cincinnati for a while now, is the O-line play.
Yeah.
The O-line play is atrocious. That's what's been plaguing Chase Brown. If you have Chase
Oh,
Brown,
I
my
know. He's killing me,
apologies.
Matt. He's killing me, Matt.
Yeah, I mean, he's averaging like I want to say 2.5 per carry. It's pretty bad right now.
It is.
Um, I just don't know if they can get this offense going. I mean, without Joe Burrow, I just think it's almost impossible for them. And really, this is really Cincinnati has to start looking in the mirror and figuring out what they want to do with this franchise because at this point, they've brought in Burrow, they've brought in all the weapons of wide out. They just haven't done anything on the defensive side really, and they haven't done anything on the offensive side on the O line, should I say? Chase Brown's talented. He's stuck behind an O line that just is not very productive. As soon as he gets the ball, he's getting hit with contact. We saw this with Joe Mixon in his years with Joe Burrow. You don't even have Joe Burrow now, so Chase Brown getting separation really, after he gets past the line of scrimmage is almost next to impossible. I just think this is they're in a tail fall, and I think that no matter what Cincinnati tries to do, I think they're going to find themselves with a top 15 pick this year. It's sad to see because there were some hopes, there were some rumblings that they might challenge. I just don't think it's
Yeah. Coming into the
cards.
season, you're right? I mean,
Yeah.
that's the thing with Joe Burrow, they're like people had picked. Some people had the Bengals, making another run for the division, and obviously when Joe Burrow's healthy, they can make a run through the playoffs. But again, I don't think we'll see Joe Burrow this year. I know a lot of people think he might come back towards the end of the season. I don't think so. I think he's most likely going to miss the entire year. When Chase Brown, you talked about getting back to the line of scrimmage. That's been a struggle. You talked about the offensive line. He can't even get back to the line of scrimmage before being hit. I mean, if you look at the yards per contact chart there online, again, he is at the bottom because he can't even get back to the line of scrimmage before he is being hit there in the backfield. Chase Brown, a stat for you, has played more games this season than he has yards per carry. So 3 games. Now he is, again, averaging just 2 yards per carry.
Nasty work there, man.
So, yeah, we'll see what happens. Killing me in fantasy. But, again, the Bengals, not sure they have a future here this year. But, again, maybe last time we talk about the Bengals for the season here on DETV Sports.
Yeah.
So we'll see how it goes. Broncos, though, they looked a lot better. And then they make their way, we'll talk about it in a little while, to Philadelphia next Sunday. Broncos-Eagles matchup. I got to like that one. Speaking of the Eagles, they did, in fact, beat Dennis's Bucs. 31-25. Dennis, we were 1-4. Jalen Hurts was against Todd Bowles in his career coming in. That game is always tough, especially down in Tampa. 113 on the field. That was the real feel there. It was a hot one down in Florida. Eagles, though, able to weather it. They get a 31-25 victory. Tough second half offensively for the Eagles, but able to make some plays as the Bucs tried to mount that comeback, and then they were able to hold them off. But, of course, I don't know if Dennis has it, the A.J. Brown tweet has kind of been making its go-arounds there. And I wanted to ask you, Matthew, your opinion on A.J. Brown and what he's thinking there. Because after every now and then, he likes to put out some cryptic tweets when things aren't necessarily going his way. And some people interpret that as maybe, he wants out, etc. I'm not one of those people. I think he knows what he's doing. I think he kind of plays into it a little bit. He's a smart guy. And I think he knows that the more, if he were to come out and say some things like that, he's going to get the ball next weekend. And again, tough matchup against Pat Surtain and the Denver Broncos. He'll be following A.J. Brown around the field. But what do you think about all this A.J. Brown controversy? And here's the tweet. If you're not welcomed, not listened to, quietly withdraw, don't make a scene, shrug your shoulders, and be on your way. What do you think?
I mean, I think I'm tired of A.J. Brown. I've been tired of A.J. Brown for a while now, if I'm being honest. I think he's arguably the most talented wide receiver that the Eagles have. I think physically he's probably one of the most impressive specimens in all of football. But I got to be honest with you, he's kind of a diva, and I'm kind of tired of the whole squeaky wheel thing. I mean, at the end of the day, Jalen Hurts isn't crying about offensive yard numbers. I mean, he doesn't throw a ton. I think the Eagles have a formula. I think they do things a certain way. And if A.J. Brown wants to get that ring, which he likes to talk about, well, that's part of this whole thing. You're going to have to draw the defensive assignment. You're going to have to pull some away from the other guys so the other guys can eat. I think Brown will eventually get his numbers. I got to be honest.
I agree.
I'm just tired of hearing your voice, bro. Shut up. Shut up and go out there and win, man. No one wants to hear you anymore. It's starting to be a distraction. And I say that respectfully. I saw Terrell Owens when he was with Donovan McNabb. I think Jalen Hurts is much better at not showing his cards, unlike Donovan McNabb. McNabb was a much more emotional guy, kind of a chump would love to. Was not as mentally tough as Jalen Hurts is. So I don't think Hurts is he's a poker player. He's not going to show you his hands. He's going to be very direct. He's not going to have a lot of emotion. So if you ask him, he's not going to really feed into it. We saw that with McNabb and we saw that with Terrell Owens. My problem with Brown is he's starting to be like Terrell Owens. It's starting to get to a situation where every week we're starting to hear something. And at this point, it's like, yo, man, either
and
shut up
and
win.
they're winning.
Yeah, you're winning. What's the problem, bro? Just shut up, man. Just do your job, man. No one wants to hear all this other stuff, bro. It's getting tiresome. I gotta be honest.
Eagles do get to win there. Again, maybe we'll see what happens with A.J. Brown. Tough to really call your number. Again, big matchup next week with Pat Surtain. So that's going to be a matchup to keep an eye on one-on-one for sure there. Also, quickly, just want to get your thoughts on Saquon. We talked about it coming into the year. The player that leads the league in touches does not necessarily have that same success coming in last year. And again, obviously, everybody's loading up the box from an NFL, not a fantasy standpoint. Teams are trying to stop, of course, Saquon Barkley being who he was and what he was able to do last year. Has not had a game over 90 yards rushing this entire season or 90 total yards receiving and rushing yet this season. Again, I'm not worried. I'm going to ask you because it's on the rundown here. I think he's going to be fine just the way the games have gone so far. I think he will bust some of those runs as we get deeper into the season. What do you think about Saquon, though? Did that take a toll on him coming into this year? And do you think it has a little bit to do with what he's done so far?
I think it had to. I don't see how it wouldn't. I think anytime a running back gets a total of 400 touches in a single season, I saw it with McCaffrey. I saw it with Dalvin Cook. It does have an attrition to it, whether people like it or not. I think the Eagles have actually been pretty smart. I hate to give them credit, but I'm going to give them credit. I think they've been smart with how they're running Saquon Barkley. I think that they're not giving him heavy loads. I think the most he ran was against Kansas City. I think he rushed 22 times.
Yeah.
He hasn't hit a 20 mark since then. He almost hit it with Tampa Bay. He had 19. But, I mean, still, at the end of the day, he's not getting that heavy volume that he was getting. He's not being targeted as much. He still targets about 3 times a game if you add up all his games so far. So it's not a lot. Passing, I think he hasn't had any passing in terms of receiving. I don't think he's had more than 30 yards. I think that was his most. I think it was actually against Tampa Bay this past week. So I think they're doing well with him. I think they're managing him, and I think there will be a part in the season where he catches fire. Now, if you're a fantasy owner, this is not the time to panic. Regardless of Barkley not having these huge games, he's still getting you double-digit points every week in fantasy. So, I mean, I would just continue to hold him. And I think if you're a Philadelphia Eagles fan, I don't think there's no time to panic right now with Barkley.
Couldn't agree more, 100%. We're on the same page there. And again, if you do have Saquon Barkley, now would not be the time to trade him, right? Because you'd be selling low after what he's been doing so far this year. So again, I would hold out there. And with Matthew, be patient there. The numbers will come. And you'll be happy you kept him on your roster here as the season continues. And now let's go to a quarterback making his first start of the season. Didn't think it would be this early after Joe Shane and Giants saying they didn't want to play Jackson Dart this year, wanted to sit back. Well, that lasted 3 weeks. So he made his first start in week 4. They didn't want to wait to get the Saints in week 5. They threw him right into the fire against a tough Chargers defense in LA here in week number 4. And he looked good, led them to a victory, a huge win for the G-men who were 0-3. Last people's jobs on the line. They had not gotten that win, and people didn't expect it to come against the Chargers on the road. So they get it done. Jackson Dart looked great with his legs. We talked about last week on the show what was the difference between him and Shador. It was the mobility, and he put that on full display in that game, able with the nice touchdown run. Battled some injuries. I'll say, Matthew, he took a lot of hits. What we said about Jaden Daniels coming out of college was he can't take hits like that. He has to stay healthy. He did that all last year. Didn't do it this year. He's already injured. Jackson Dart got hit 8 times. He did 8 full time, like 8 tackles in that game. Again, that was the highest of any quarterback in the entire league on Sunday. So just something to pay attention to. He cannot continue to take hits like that, with that stature. That might come back to get him. He did leave the game briefly for an injury, but he did return. He looked really good. The Giants got the win, but no Malik Neighbors for the rest of the year. One of the most devastating injuries of the season happens here in week number 4. Everybody, let's talk about the turf at MetLife. That's been picked up, put down. People have torn their ACLs, different players there, as well as other places. So you don't want to look directly at the turf. But Neighbors, brutal injury. I know I had him in fantasy as a first-round pick, so that's killer. Had him in Dynasty as well. So he's out for the season, a very bad knee injury. If you want to take a bright side of things, if you want to think that way, It's early this year. Maybe he's back for the start of next year because it happened so early this year. But a complete tear of the ACL for Malik Neighbors. But again, bittersweet for the Giants who get Jackson start in his get his first win, his first start.
Yeah, and it was weird going online. I think there's so many Jackson Dart haters because he went over Shador Sanders. And it's kind of weird to me. Again, anybody who watched the game, there's no doubt there's a reason why Jackson Dart went ahead of Shador Sanders. And you saw it with the mobility, the ability to extend plays. It was all there. He has a strong arm and short passes. He can hit the windows very, very good. It was all there. I mean, yeah, he may not have been like a world beater out there, but he gave him life. He took some pressure off Scatterboo to get those yards. At the end of the day, all this stuff that we have seen about Jackson Dart and what me and you have talked about, especially into the draft process, it came out. And if I'm the New York Giants fan, I'm feeling very happy with Jackson Dart. I mean, he would continue to play had it not been, I think he had like some hamstring issues. I think his hamstrings got a little tight, but for the most part, he was out there, man. He was gaming. I can tell you this right now. They did not like playing against him. The Chargers were having a hard time.
They wanted Russ.
Oh, they wanted Russ for sure, bro. Like you could tell the way that they were playing. They had no idea that he was going to be able to get, out of the pocket as fast as he did. And, look, at the end of the day, this is why Jackson Dart went in the first round. You don't have to like him. You don't have to think that there's a lot to him. That's fine. But he showed it. That this is why he was there. He has a strong short arms. He gets out of traffic pretty quick, and he can extend plays. And at the end of the day, when you have a mediocre offensive line and you don't have any real rushing, other than Scatterboo, who's really, if we're being honest, is a converted fullback. You need this. You need a guy that can get you open. And the Shador Sanders is not that guy for that offense. I'm not saying that Shador Sanders isn't going to have any success at the NFL level. I'm just saying this was the difference right here. This is why most people had Jackson Dart in the first round boards.
Yeah, and again, this is why Brian Daboll wanted his guy. He chose Jackson Dart because of the mobility for his offense, as you stated, and he got him. And those two were going crazy after that win yesterday. Again, no Malik Neighbors, so that's really going to damper things for Dart going forward. So again, if he had Neighbors, you would expect, it's so important for a young quarterback to have that star-studded or go-to guy, and now he doesn't. So I think things are going to get a lot tougher than what they could have been for him now without Malik Neighbors. Obviously, that would have been nice to have him for the young quarterback, but will not going forward for Jackson Dart. Got to stay healthy. That's the one thing I want to say. He's got to stop taking those hits. LA fallout here quickly, Matthew. The Chargers were everybody's favorite team through the first 4 weeks of the season. Beating the Chiefs, beating the Broncos, beating all these good teams. Justin Herbert looked like the MVP. The team was clicking on all cylinders. Now they dropped this one here at home to the G-Men. Any thoughts on LA going forward? Expectations damper? Or do you think just a bad week?
I think it's just a bad week. I mean, I will say this, not having Joe Alt in that game, he left the game.
Offensive line is decimated now, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be the bigger problem for them. I think if you're a Charger fan, I think you're still happy with what you've seen out of Herbert. He did not have a great game. I agree with that, but I don't think it was so bad that you're like, oh my gosh, what's the season going to be like? And again, me and you talked about this guy during the draft process. Hampton looked good out there. So
really good. Oh yeah.
Yeah, so if I'm the Chargers, I'm feeling good. I'm not panicking at all. I mean, again, they need to get Alt. They need to have a more healthy offensive line for sure. But again, I think with what Harbaugh has done, and I'm a guy that gives Harbaugh a lot of smoke, I think they've done a great job.
Yeah, they'll look to keep it rolling, obviously, or look to get back on track next week for the Chargers. Again, a playoff team, everybody assumes, in the AFC. Just a little hiccup there. They'll get back on track. This was a big one, though, Kona, Matthew. We talked about it on last week's show as we previewed week number 4. Chiefs and the Ravens. Both teams coming into this contest 1-2, and one of them was going to be 1-3. And it is, again, we know the stats for playoff teams with a record of 1-3. Not a great shot to get in, historically speaking, with that record. So, I mean, this one shocked me. I mean, we talked about it last week coming in. We talked about how bad the Cowboys were defensively. We'll get to them in a minute. But we said there's only one other team that was worse, and that was the Baltimore Ravens. We don't know how, but they were. They came into this game banged up. They leave this game losing 9 starters on defense. They had just 2 starters remaining to finish the game here against the Chiefs. Chiefs just ravaged them 37-20, just beat them up from start to finish. Xavier Worthy was a huge part of that offense in his first game back after the shoulder. Matabike was announced today. The best defensive lineman for the Ravens is now out for the season. Things are not looking good for Baltimore, especially defensively. I mean, coming into the year, they had played so well towards the back end of last year. That defense was phenomenal down the stretch. And then into this season, they add some new pieces that were supposed to bring them up a little bit, and they have been the worst defense, or one of the 2 or 3 worst defenses in the league through 4 games. Again, the Chiefs able to hang 37 on them, dominate this one from start to finish, and to make things worse, Lamar leaves the game with a hamstring injury. He is projected to not be on the field this weekend. We'll see how it goes, how practice is the rest of the week, but they don't think they're going to see him out there on Sunday. And what do you thought here about the Ravens? They're now 1-3. Lamar's banged up, and the defense is the worst in the league. Is it now time to panic in Baltimore?
I would, if I'm Baltimore. I mean, and it's not even that I'm saying that they don't have the ability to turn it around. It's just that right now, if I'm being honest, what I've seen from Baltimore, I don't like.
Oh, yeah.
I don't like the defense. I don't like how that's played, and that's always been a staple of Baltimore, is that they've had.
That is. When you think Ravens,
defense.
You think defense, yeah.
Exactly. And then I got to be honest with you, I don't like the way that offensive line is playing. That offensive line has not done Lamar any favors. So, and then the weirdest aberration of this season has been Derrick Henry. We saw Hill get more carries in this game than Henry. And Henry, the mojo, something's off with Henry. I don't know if it's the frustration from the fumbles.
Yeah, I don't know. I was thinking the same thing.
And I will say this, and you know, again, I know people like to think that people are overthinking things. I don't think this is overreach. I think this is just human nature. If I see that you're struggling to hold the ball, and I see that people are punching the ball through and they're getting it out of you, I can tell you this: every time I'm in a defensive team meeting, we're going to talk about punching the ball.
Oh yeah, they worked on that all week. I'm sure.
All week.
It's like blood in the ocean with a shark. That's exactly what it's like.
The fact, man. Until Derrick Henry shows that that's not going to count, they're going to keep doing it, because that's what they have been training themselves to do. They're going to find any weakness and they're going to go after it. And again, Henry looks frustrated. He does not look. This is the first time I've seen Henry really frustrated as a runner. I saw him in Tennessee when they had a really crappy O-line. Didn't matter. He was still getting out there. He does not look this frustrated. To see him the way he is right now with the Ravens, it's something I've never seen with Derrick Henry. Nothing. Never seen it.
It's weird. Offense doesn't look good. Defense is, again, atrocious. And we thought maybe the Ravens could outscore teams, maybe if they had put up 40 a week. But that might not be the case, especially if you don't have the 2-time MVP. Yep. Back behind center. So again, not sure about you cannot like, as you mentioned, what's going on there. And to me, it's the defense. I mean, the offense that could come around, especially if you get back more healthy, whatever. But when your defense is that bad, this is what I said here about the Lions last year. I said it all season long. I loved how they were playing. I was waiting for that NFC Championship game between the Eagles and the Lions, the game I had been looking forward to all year. Right. We didn't get it because of the defense. The Lions had a great offense. They dominated teams, but they had one of the worst defenses in the league. I know they battled injuries, but to me, they weren't a serious Super Bowl contender because of how poor the defense was. And right now, I just don't think, unless they make some adjustments, and they certainly can, or get some new players, they're dealing with so many injuries, it's hard to overcome. But to me, the Ravens, man, it's hard to say this when you have Lamar Jackson at quarterback, depending how the health is, but they're not a threat. I mean, they're not a Super Bowl team. The defense is this bad. They're just not. You can't have a defense equal to the Cowboys right now and have a chance to compete for a Super Bowl. I don't care who your offense has.
Not a chance.
So just something to think there. Quickly, are the Chiefs back? That offense looked for the first time like we had seen it in 3 years. And even the last 2 years that they've got to the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl, it was kind of a tough, drug out, work hard to get these wins, grind it out. Yep. Offense looked good. Again, I'll say it's the Ravens, so I don't know what to make of it. But are the Chiefs back offensively?
I think they're back mentally.
Yeah,
I think this was the game, as we talked about last week. I think this game was more critical for the Ravens, because the Chiefs have done this throughout their history. Like, they have this.
We had that discussion. Yeah,
they have this belief that if they can get the ball rolling, wins are going to come, and they're going to come in plentiful. The Ravens, they've never been in this position before. Patrick Mahomes, and I know people love the Pat Mahomes has never done this and he's never done that. Pat Mahomes, he feels that he's still the best quarterback in the league. And once you start giving the team around him that confidence, you're in trouble. And I think that that's what you're seeing. You're going to see with the Chiefs now moving forward. They're going to be like, yeah, see, we are this. We can be good. And I think once you start to get the other guys, and again, let's also remember this too. They won, and Travis Kelce did not score a touchdown, and Travis Kelce didn't even get 60 or 70 yards. I think he got 48 yards, I think, in this
And
last
again,
game.
still no no run game at all with Pacheco or
Correct.
Rashard Smith, and no Rasheed Rice.
Right. Exactly. I don't know if you're in that division and if you're in that whole side, I think you gotta be like, well, look, this could go real quick, real fast, if they get the confidence rolling.
Yeah, I'm with you again. And again, Mahomes getting there. He's starting to get there. I think a little bit more, as you said, confidence is growing. I mean, we know he's the best quarterback in the league. I don't think that's debatable. He missed Worthy just a few times by this much. And again,
Yeah.
season goes and he gets Rice back and some of those guys, those are throws he's not going to miss. Once he
Yep.
gets a couple reps with Worthy back in that offense, I think they're going to take off. I really
For
do. I was
sure.
able to make a trade for Worthy in fantasy over the weekend.
Oh, there you go.
Glad I was able to get that done. I love that going forward. Again, I think this offense is going to get rolling again. Have to figure out the run game, though. You can't have, listen to this, Matthew. Patrick Mahomes leads the Chiefs in rushing. He leads the Chiefs in rushing. And again, he's having a great year rushing, leading a lot of the quarterbacks in that category. But Patrick Mahomes cannot be your leading rusher.
No.
Again, that's going to, I hope, find itself fixed here soon because I think that passing game and offense is going to get rolling, once they get some of these big time weapons back.
But what I did see from them was I did see some of the incorporation of getting the running backs involved in the passing game, which has
I
been
saw more
huge.
Rashard Smith out there. Yeah.
Correct, which has been really Andy Reid. If we're being honest, that's really Andy Reid's calling card with the Chiefs is getting the running backs involved in the passing game. When they do well, it's usually, if you look, it's usually the running backs are getting for the season maybe 500 or 600 yards for the season receiving. That's, we could just look at Jarrett McKinnon when he was there, Damian Williams when he was there. They were really involved in the passing. So if he can get some of this production in passing, that could be very trouble. That could be trouble for everybody, honestly.
Yeah, again, I'm quickly trying to find here if I go to the stats for the season for the Kansas City Chiefs. I would love to know, again, I should have had this coming in, but what the yards per carry, for those running backs are on the season because they cannot be great.
So the yards for the season are
for yards per carry for Pacheco. I'm shocked he's averaging 4 yards a carry, but the team rushing has been just abysmal for them.
Yeah, so Patrick Mahomes is at 130, Pacheco's at 127, Hunt is at 115, and Mahomes is at 5.9, Pacheco 4.0, and then Hunt at 3.2. So
we'll see.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. Gonna have to get it going. Of course, they want to compete for a Super Bowl. When you got 15 in quarterback, though, anything is possible. Packers and the Cowboys. And Matthew, I like the Packers as a team for a few years now. I'm a Jordan Love guy, et cetera. They get Micah Parsons a few weeks ago, and we're going to jump into the Packers and the Cowboys here. But the word around town is the last 3 weeks that the Packers have been, the Super Bowl favorites. They've been the best team in the NFC. I mean, they were everybody's favorite team since the Micah Parsons trade, and then they lose to Cleveland. We had the discussion, hey, they'll get back on track. They get the Cowboys next week. With that defense, that is, exactly what the doctor ordered. How do you get back on track? Is going up against Dallas.
Right.
Well, this one ends in a 40-40 overtime tie. McManus becomes the first ever player to kick a game-tying field goal in regulation, and then one as overtime expires. So 40-40, our first tie of the year, and our first tie in some time in the NFL comes there. What did you take more away from this? Was it the Packers or the Cowboys? I mean, we thought the Cowboys were going to get killed in this game. They were at home. They show up. The offense shows up. We kind of know what we're getting with them. The offense is good. The defense is bad. So what do you take away there? Or is it the Packers with now a loss to Cleveland and now a tie to Dallas? What do you think? Who is this more kind of tell you more about?
I think it tells me more about the Packers, honestly. I mean, I think, Prescott is good enough to get hot at home. So I'm not shocked by that. I mean, he was really smoking with Pickens and I think Ferguson.
Yeah.
So, and again, the rushing game really helped them too. I mean, Devontae Williams has been great in Dallas for the most part when you consider last year it was Rico Dowdle that was there. at the end of the day, the biggest problem with the Packers, right, is that you know Jordan Love is a quality player. You know Micah Parsons is a quality player. The problem with them is after Josh Jacobs, it's really kind of like in the air who's going to produce for them on the other side. I mean, it could be Reed, it could be Dobbs, it could be anybody really. We don't really know. There's been some games where I think the tight end there has been the best pass catcher there. And in other times where it doesn't look like anybody's really a standout part in that offense. And that's the one thing about the Packers, right? When you look at the history of how they've run their organization, they've been a team that has always believed in building through the draft.
Oh yeah, old
Uh,
school.
Old school, old school. They have not been able to peg the next great wideout for quite some time now in the draft. The last guy they hit was Devontae Adams. Before then is Donald Driver, Greg Jennings.
Yeah.
They've hit some really good picks, but for some reason, no matter how much they have put into draft capital of a wideout, I don't know who you could tell me is their playmaking wideout right now, or pass catcher, should I say?
Yeah.
I don't know. There are some games that I watch, and I'm literally saying Tucker Kraft is the best guy they got with the
Yeah.
most consistent hands. I don't know anybody else, honestly. I mean, Dobbs, and I've seen games where Dobbs looks unstoppable, and I've seen other games where I'm like, Reed has the best aerial catch radius I've seen in anybody there. And then you see games and you're just like, I don't know who's good over there. It's weird to me. And
Yeah.
again, that's the part where the Packers they might have to spend some money to get Jordan Love over this hump, because until he gets a guy that he feels comfortable with being the number one in that offense, I don't know how much far they're going to go. I really don't.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, obviously to now that has not come to fruition. I do think Matthew Golden can be that guy. Like, it wouldn't shock me if 10 weeks from now, as the season's coming into the playoffs, I think their goal is to try to get him worked up so that he can be by the time the
Sure.
playoffs come around. I think he has that type of talent. I think he's that good of a player. I know Jordan Love's missed him a few times here in the last few weeks on some deep balls, but he's had some big plays. He's starting to get more and more involved. So I think he can be the guy. Again, he was the first wide receiver they drafted in the first round in a long time.
Long time.
And again, I agreed with it. So I think that he can get there. We'll see if, again, it's just a matter of fact or a matter of time of when he does. So I think he will. I think at the end of the season, we could have a discussion about him being their wide receiver one, but has not come, as we said, to fruition just yet there. Cowboys, not much to say there. Pickens is fantastic. Dak is very good. Offense is good. But again, with a defense like that and limited, again, I don't see them making impact there down the road. Quickly, what do you think of the Cowboys?
I think the Cowboys are the Cowboys. Again, getting hot at home doesn't shock me. I mean, again, these guys are a good team when you look at the sum of their parts. Where the Cowboys really kill themselves is on the defensive side, and losing Micah Parsons did not help them anymore on the defensive side. Offensively, Pickens, people might forget this. Pickens was one of my favorite wideouts coming out of the draft a few years ago out of Georgia. I was huge on him. I think he wasted away in Pittsburgh before they got Aaron Rodgers. He was traded shortly after they got Aaron Rodgers, so he never even played a season under Aaron Rodgers. So I think Pickens, I think on any team that I think he'd be a wide R1, and I think you can win with him. I think he has Cortland Sutton type ability. So, I love Pickens. The issue with them is always going to be on the defensive side. You have CeeDee Lamb, you have Pickens, you have Devontae Williams. I think they got great Javonte Williams, I'm sorry. And then you have Prescott. I think they got talent on the offensive side, and they have a solid offensive line, at least top 15 in the league. The issue is with Dallas is the defense. The defense is really suspect and mediocre at best, and that's where they really lose, honestly.
Yeah, and again, same thing with the Ravens, and they don't have Lamar Jackson, though I do think Dak Prescott is a very good quarterback. So again, not too much to take away from there. Not a playoff team in my eyes, and I don't think yours, and I know not Dennis's. So we're going to keep going here. Let's jump into the 2-minute drills. We wrap up quickly some other things that didn't need as much time spent. Steelers, they beat the Vikings in Ireland 24-21. Vikings favorites in this one with Carson Wentz, but the Steelers defense looked a lot better now. They are overseas. They get the win over the Vikings. Bears beat the Raiders 25-24. Genti, though, gets back on track, 3 touchdowns. They let him return to his Michael Myers stance in the backfield. Worked out. He scored 3 times. Not enough, though, to beat the Bears in Las Vegas. Bears get the win. Rams edge Colts. This was a fantastic game. 27-20. Puka and Stafford were just unbelievable. Puka now number one. I mean, has been the number 1 wide receiver in the NFL so far this season. Rams defense continues to get home, get after the quarterback. They were great. I will say, watching this one, a few big calls that went against the Colts that I not necessarily agreed with. So especially down the stretch. And then we saw A.D. Mitchell throw the ball out of the end zone before crossing the pylon. That was a game-changing play there. So a bunch of stuff went wrong.
That was crazy.
The Colts, yeah. And the Rams still only won by 7. So take away what you want of this, but I thought this was a good showing for the Colts in a game against the Rams. Rams still able to pull it out. But hey, maybe the Colts are a solid team this year, like we kind of thought.
No, I think the Colts are a solid team. I mean, again, as long as Jonathan Taylor continues to go out there and produce, I think they have a chance at winning. I mean, Taylor has been kind of like the shell of his old self. I mean, he's out there getting, 90-plus yards.
Looks real good.
Looks real good. I mean, he's catching out of the backfield now. I mean, there's things that he's doing that take us back to his magical season a couple of years ago where we were saying that he was the best running back in the league. So I think anytime you have a running back that can produce that, you have a chance to really win. At the end of the day, if I'm the Colts, other than you just hope that Jones' glass slipper doesn't break at any given time. If that happens, they're in trouble. But so far, all credit goes to Daniel Jones. He has shown that maybe it was the environment and not, his talent. I give him full credit. He has definitely played well under Shane Steichen. And I got to be honest with you, I think he's the perfect guy for Shane Steichen. I mean, when you talk about the RPO, the ability to escape out of the pocket, things that, work really well with RPOs, I think he was the perfect guy for Shane Steichen.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with you there. Jags beat the 49ers, but again, the biggest issue there with the Niners, Matthew, was those injuries. Pearsall, Juwan Jennings, and Brock Purdy. Obviously, no Kittle. All 3 of them are questionable on a short week at Thursday. We'll preview that in a second. Injuries, though, again, it seems like it's year in and year out for the 49ers, and that's even with McCaffrey still healthy. So things not good there. The Jags are able to take down them as they battle injuries throughout that game. Falcons beat the Danielus Commanders. Michael Penix didn't look great, but a nice response game. Drake London, huge game there as they needed that win. A big-time win for the Falcons. They get it over Marcus Mariota and the Commanders, who, again, defense didn't look great, and now offense struggled a little bit. That'll happen without Jaden Daniels and Terry McLaurin. So 2 big parts of that offense gone. Falcons get the win. And then Pats, Texans, and Lions all win in, again, maybe some of the games that weren't as exciting there. So takes us to Thursday night. Rams down the Niners. Matthew, your 49ers are going to be at home for this one. The Rams are 6.5, almost touchdown point favorites here in this game, and that's because of the question mark of Brock Purdy, Ricky Pearsall, and Juwan Jennings. Again, they will already be without Kittle. If you're missing those 3 guys, hard to win a football game.
Yeah, I don't think the 49ers will come out of this game. Honestly, maybe I'm on the other end of this. I've heard people talk about the 49ers possibly getting I think what is it, Carl Anderson, I think, from the Saints, for a 4th round and a 3rd round draft pick or something like that. I'm good. I at the end of the day, I don't think we have anybody that we can get in the league that's going to replace Joey Bosa's production. And at the end of the day,
that's right. And Bosa's out for the year.
Yeah, at this point, I think we just got to deal with the devil that we know, and just allow our rookie Mikal to get some reps, get him, acclimated to the team. Because at the end of the day, the 49ers, if they do not continue to win, if they continue to have a decline, you're going to have to start taking away certain guys and adding new guys. Because as great as they were a couple years ago, and it's the NFL. A year is not really a year. It's really 3 years in the NFL. I mean, guys age so fast, and players' talents change so frequent that what was once elite may not be elite. I mean, we see that right now with Greenlaw in Denver. I mean, a couple years ago, people considered Greenlaw the best left outside linebacker, with pass coverage ability in the league. Now, he's fighting to even stay on the team, from what you're hearing from most reports. So, again, things in the NFL change, and players' years really add up and triple up in the NFL. So we'll see what goes on. But I as a 49ers fan, I don't see how we win this game. Honestly, we would need some breaks to win this game.
Yeah, 6.5-point favorite. It's hard to tell if you want to take that game early on because, if those guys are playing, obviously that line will come down. But if they're not,
Right.
they're going to go way up. So you got to make that decision whether or not you think they're playing if you want to get some action on Thursday night. Again, 2 days away from seeing that one. Quickly here, as we get to week 5, we will not be seeing each other until the conclusion of week 5 next week when we get back on the air. Just a couple big games. Again, not a lot of great games on the slate in terms of matchups for next week. But, of course, they can still become good games. Some few, though, that we highlighted. Broncos at the Eagles at 1 o'clock. That's a phenomenal one on Sunday. And I think if the Commanders get Jaden Daniels back, we'll see what happens. I think he could be back this week. They get the Chargers in LA. So those are 2 big-time games there. Now, what do you think about the Eagles and the Broncos?
I think it's going to be a great game. I really am excited to see it. I think the Eagles are going to have to make sure that they have their emotions under control. I think Denver's the type of team that can get those emotions out of you. I'm a little surprised by, honestly, and I don't know where it comes from with Philadelphia. For some reason, there's this, and I know people like to say, "Oh, it's because we're Philly and we're hard." I don't know about that, man. Like, there's a certain energy with this team that, like, almost like they feel like they're not being respected. It's kind of weird. I don't know.
I agree with you, but I think it's the media's fault. I don't know why we got to talk about them every week like they're losing games when they keep winning. That's the part that irritates me. I think it's the media's fault that they do that.
Yeah, maybe it is the media's fault. I don't know. It just I see it coming out of the players. I don't think Nick Sirianni helps a whole lot. Nick Sirianni's always crying on the sideline. It's annoying. I just wish he'd shut up and just enjoy his mini dynasty that he has in his disposal. I mean, I've never seen. I got to be honest. I've seen all the great coaches. I've never seen a coach cry as much as Nick Sirianni, bro. It is amazing. I mean, dude, any call, I've never seen this. This guy acts like there's never such thing as a bad call against his team. It's wow, man. I know refs do some bad calls, and I know, especially interior play, you can call holding every single time. I get it, but bro, come on, man. And you guys are not innocent every single time the whistle blows. Sometimes you guys are definitely guilty of what you're being charged with. Stop the crying all the time. And again, I don't know. Maybe to your point, maybe it is the media that is giving Philadelphia this flack. I just think, honestly, Philadelphia, I think the Eagles got to just lock in and just ignore the noise because, look, they were a year ago, they were the hunted. Now they're the hunter. And when you're the hunter, you become the hunted. So you're no longer, going for prey. You are the prey in sports. So they got to. This is dynasty talk. This is mountaintop talk. This is how it is, man. When you get that ring, and you get to be that guy that everybody's circling their calendar on, and everybody's pointing at you and saying you're the team that we got to beat to be the best. This is what comes with it. So I mean, yeah, media is going to talk about you when you don't go out and dominate. Media is going to talk about you when you're not catching 100 yards per game. Media is going to talk about you when you're not throwing 300 yards a game, Jalen Hurts. I mean, yeah, media is going to talk about it because you are now the NFL standard as being the best team in the league. Philadelphia has to understand that. I know you're not used to that, Philadelphia. I understand.
We're getting there.
I've been here for the Randall Cunningham years. I was here that far back. Yes, I don't want to date myself, but yeah, I was here for the Randall Cunningham years. I was here when Jerome Brown died tragically. I was here when Donovan McNabb was here. I was here when Bobby Hoying was looked at as being a potential guy for the Eagles. I don't know how. That's dark times indeed. But listen, at some point, you got to understand this is what happens with the best teams, bro. You're going to be talked about, and there's going to be a lot of people that are going to try to poke holes in you. Just enjoy the ride.
Yeah, and hopefully they can. I know AJ Brown's tweet does not necessarily help that.
No.
So hopefully they can figure this out as they go forward. Again, Saquon sounded a little somber after the game as well. Again, he'll never say anything negative, but he's, I don't think he's worried about himself or anything, but he'll get there too. So I think, again, I've never seen more crisis around an undefeated team in my life.
Yeah, so it's weird, right?
It is weird. It is weird, 100%. So we'll see what happens going forward there. That takes us now to our trivia question of the week. As we've been pretty hot. I think Dennis got us back last week. Where we were
trying.
Did he get us back last week?
He got us back. Yeah.
Yeah. Quickly, we thought he got us good, and now it's time for us to get back on the board and respond this week. Dennis, what do you have for everybody? All right, there we
Okay.
go. Let's go with our question of the week first. Are the Eagles proving they're the NFC's best team, or is it still too early to tell? Matthew, I know you've been very truthful when discussing this throughout the beginning of
Yep.
this season, and I think we're going to have the same answer. I think they are still the best team in the NFC today.
They're still the best team because we haven't even seen the best game of them yet.
Yep.
So, and they're still undefeated.
And again, then some of the teams that you throw in there that would be in that mix would be the Commanders, who have no Jaden Daniels, would be the Packers, who just tied the Cowboys in Dallas 40-40. Again, the team I think maybe right now that could give them the best run would be maybe Detroit.
And they played their best game just recently. So,
so I'm with you. Me and Matthew both agreement there. Eagles are the cream of the crop in the NFC. And then next week we'll have that conversation about the AFC, because that thing is getting interesting too. I think the Bills the big favorites there to win the AFC with that schedule going forward. All right, with that being said, trivia question that you got for us there. Who was the first wide receiver in NFL history to record 2,000 receiving yards in a single season? And Dennis always likes to take me back. He takes us back.
First wide receiver to get 2,000 yards?
Yeah. Now, again, when you think about the old days, not the old days, I say that hypothetically, older days, I guess, back then, teams didn't throw as much, right? 2,000 yards wasn't easy to come by. Now, are we getting into when do you even think we got our first 2,000-yard receiver?
Well, just because it's my team.
That's where I was going to go with it, but I wasn't he don't think he's setting us up for that? Because that's where my head went immediately.
No, but I have another team, but I don't I doubted that team though. I can't think of that team. And there is a time, but I don't know if we're talking about AFL though. See, that's what I'm saying.
We obviously know Calvin Johnson has done it. Tyreek Hill has done it. There have been guys that have done it. Who was, again, doesn't happen often. It really does not. I think only a few guys have been there.
First NFL wide receiver to get 2,000
yards. Would you say Jerry Rice was there? I can't imagine it would be Jerry Rice. I just can't.
I would think it's not Jerry. Jerry came damn close, but it's not.
So you think it'll be after him, right? Because of the passing.
Yeah, I think it's going to be after him, and I think
it's no Michael Irvin. Michael Irvin, not even close.
No, and then Calvin Johnson came close, but
I think he might have done it.
I don't think.
Do you think any of those Colts play like Marvin Harrison, Reggie, Reggie Wayne? I don't think they got there, right?
No.
They used to throw a lot. Randy Moss. Oh, yeah, this is the first player. Oh,
I'm gonna go with the Triple Crown wideout, Cooper Kupp. I think he got 2,000 yards, didn't he? Didn't Kupp get 2,000?
Yeah. Was he? You think he was the first?
I don't think Calvin Johnson got 2,000. I know Antonio Brown never hit 2,000.
No, he was at 1,800.
I know Jerry never hit 2,000. I'm gonna have to say Cooper Kupp. That's where I'm gonna go with, because I don't. Yeah, all the great wideouts. I can't think of one that hit 2,000 yards before Cooper Kupp. I know Calvin came darn close. I think he got 1,900.
That's where I was thinking Jerry or Calvin there.
I know Calvin came close. I'm gonna go with Cooper. I'm gonna go with Cooper Kupp.
All right, give me Calvin Johnson just for the hell of it.
Okay, here we go.
Oh, he's got a buzzer now. He's gonna.
Oh, this
gonna love that work going forward.
This is nasty work.
I told y'all.
I didn't see.
Trick question.
This better not be that dude from the Titans back in the day, bro.
Y'all gonna hate me.
Huh? No one.
Oh,
told you it was a trick
Cooper Kupp didn't get 2,000 yards?
No.
Oh, see, I would try to think.
What Cooper Kupp get?
He must have been right at 18 or 1,900.
Yeah.
So we don't get the Calvin Johnson credit then, huh?
Calvin Johnson was close.
No, man.
It was good. It was a good guess though, but no.
Yeah, Cooper Kupp. I think he got 1947. I just looked it up just now. Oh, this is nasty work.
I told y'all were gonna hate me for that one.
Nasty work.
Yeah, that was nasty work on that one. Dan, we're approaching 9 o'clock Eastern here. We're officially hitting DETV Sports late night, Matthew. I know we've been wanting our own late night
There we go.
Something
Yeah.
in the future. But we're wrapping up here again. Thanks for everybody sticking with us. Got on a little bit late. Shout out to Dennis for getting us up and running. I know he had a couple shoots there tonight over at the studio. So Matthew, closing words here on Tuesday. I like our new Tuesday show, by the way. I do like being able to recap Monday night and not having to compete with Monday Night Football. So I think we're doing pretty good. Closing words here as we end September. Next time we talk will be in October.
Yeah, so I'm gonna be a little somber here just because of the simple fact that a favorite ball player of mine just recently passed. Growing up, if you were a college basketball fan, there was no way you didn't know this guy. Lawrence Moten passed away at 53 years old. Tragically young. I had actually met Lawrence at a club that was an agent had opened up, and the agent was a mutual friend of me and Lawrence Moten. Nicest guy you'd ever want to meet. If you didn't know his background, you wouldn't even know he was a basketball player because he didn't put it out in front of you. I mean, he was Mr. Everything in Syracuse. Just an amazing player, very nice person off the court. I think he scored over 2,000 points at Syracuse. I would say that he was one of the most, had a nickname called Poetry and Moten. Beautiful player, beautiful person, and it's just sad, when guys that you admired when you were younger are passing way earlier than you thought they should. I mean, 53 years old is young. So I just want to express my condolences to the friends and family of Lawrence, and as well as to people who, if you ever rub shoulders with Lawrence, whose nickname was Sam, you would definitely feel the warmth that he had as a person. He was a great person. I could talk endlessly about him as an individual, not even mention basketball. We are definitely poor as a world without him in it. And at the end of the day, just take some time and watch Lawrence Moten if you can on YouTube. Recently, Tracy McGrady, before he passed, had talked about that he was a player that he emulated his style as a young player growing up. So a lot of people who you may watched and admired, they took something from Lawrence. I mean, Lawrence was a special player. So again, condolences to everybody who's experienced that loss. And a bittersweet memory of my youth has passed away. Mr. High Sox, number 21, Syracuse. Love you, appreciate you. And, again, just condolences to everybody.
Very well said. Couldn't agree more, Matthew. Again, I think Matthew's final thought might be my favorite part of the show there. That again here on a Tuesday. So again, a special thanks to Dennis for getting us up and on the air here after a long day here on a Tuesday night. Matthew, thank you for getting Comcast able to fix that and get on the phone with them, getting yourself up and running. So we were all good there. So again, thanks for everybody getting us up and finished here on a Tuesday. So for Dennis, Matthew, and myself, we'll be back next Tuesday, a little bit earlier, 7:00 p.m. Make sure you tune into DETV and get the latest update on your Week 5 NFL recap, a look ahead to Thursday, and all the other things going on in the world of sports. So we will see you then. All right, good stuff.
It was good.
Yeah, glad we were able to get